What is up, my fellow citizens? This is Geo here, and you know what? I think CIG actually pulled an event for this whole month, and they didn't even know it. They did it on accident, and it's called Misc May, because we've been getting Misc ships all this month, and oh goodness, my wallet cannot take no more of the beating. But I'm gonna get some of these ships for a giveaway, and that is the Misc Reliant. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this bad boy and have a discussion about it. New for model year 2946, it's the Misc Reliant. Following on the success of the Freelancer Built for Life campaign, Misc has begun development of a smaller introductory class spacecraft that can be operated by a single pilot. Although roughly designed to compete with the RSI Aurora and the consolidated Outland Mustang, the Reliant is a very different animal. From the broad, sleek wings to the multiple flight modes and the second fully articulated crew seat, the Reliant is a small ship with a great deal of potential. The Misc Reliant makes copious use of Gion technology, the most ever applied to human ship design. From a moving cockpit that slots into place depending on the flight mode to omnidirectional thrusters licensed under trade agreement with APOA, the Reliant is one of the most high-tech ships on the market today. Advanced Gion metal composites make up the armored wingspan, and every control surface has been meticulously updated from those developed from the Freelancer by Misc internal Xeon tech team. A flying wing, or is it? The Reliant changes from horizontal to vertical flight modes at the touch of a button. With a larger cargo hold than the Aurora ES or the Mustang Alpha, the Reliant is a natural choice for anyone engaging in short-haul shipping. And that cargo space also means there's plenty of internal room to expand, allowing the placement of medical systems, weapon racks, and more. Ultimately, though the Reliant is no transport, it's a sleek and maneuverable utility ship more than capable of holding its own during combat. As the newest ship on the block, the Reliant has a lot to prove, but one glance should tell you it has the right stuff. Whether you're interested in the distinctive manta ray silhouette to the spacious high-tech open cockpit environment, the Reliant will likely be a common sight on the space lanes when it launches. Now, this next section we're going to go over, this is a word from David Hobbins. He created the Mustang in the Carrack. He had to leave to go do some work on Star Wars, but he is back now doing some freelancing. So let's go ahead and see what he had to say about this ship. Goals. The design notes were for a Japanese aesthetic, which I interpreted by studying forms of both classical and modern Japanese art. I wanted the Reliant to evoke aspects of its Japanese design sensibility, and I looked at objects like the curve of a fan, the ginkgo leaf, the beveled edge of a samurai sword, and other sources. The design became less fan-like during the course of the concept process, and that's okay, but it was a necessary step for me to kick off the design process. Another goal for the ship was to incorporate some Gion technology, which was mostly internal, but still should inform the ship's exterior. Challenges. The biggest challenge was figuring out how to maximize the cargo payload without compromising the ship's distinctive profile and without making the overall wing frame too large. The Reliant is a mini hauler after all, and I needed a way to fit a respectable cargo volume into a relatively narrow wing frame. Initially, I thought I could integrate the cargo into the wing frame itself, but the increased rotational weight with slow spinning maneuvers and also would open the door for other problems such as balancing issues. For example, what if one side of the craft is loaded and the opposite isn't? Countering this potential weight disparity would be too much for the maneuvering thrusters. So my final solution was to place the cargo hold at the very center of mass, maintaining the visual integrity of the narrow wings as well as minimizing the rotational weight and mismatched cargo configurations. Fun. The most fun was creating an animation of the Reliant going from a landing configuration to space combat mode. It's really satisfying to see a design fully come to life. Highlights. The highlight for me was that not only does the ship semi-transform, but also the cockpit seats reorient themselves, rotating independent of the rest of the ship to go from side by side when horizontal to a stacked when in vertical flight mode, giving both the pilot and gunner maximum visibility. Should make for a really fun and unique player experience. A new starter ship. The Reliant is the first of what we're calling Tier 2 starter ships. In the future, the Misc Reliant will form the basis of an optional Star Citizen starter package like the Mustang and the Aurora today. Ship pricing is always based on specifications, and such as the Reliant and any future packages will be slightly more expensive or contain different extras than base Mustang and Aurora packages. Okay, so now let's go over the stats on this bad boy. Focus, mini hauler. Length, 13 meters. Mass, 18,750 kilograms. Max crew, 2. Cargo capacity, 30. Primary engines, 2 TR1s, maneuvering thrusters, 12 TR1s, and the power plant is a size 2. Future variants. The standard model of the Reliant, currently nicknamed the Mini Hauler, is designed to be a jack-of-all-trades ship with a slight focus on cargo transport. In truth, the base ship is more of a utility base which might be adapted to any number of purposes. Using the base Reliant, pilots can customize their ship for any number of roles, ranging from combat missions to electronic interception. Additionally, the development team is currently working on 3 future variants. Expect to see more on these ships when the base Reliant is hangar ready. Please note that these variants are very early concepts and that their specifications and purpose may change significantly as they go through the development process. Even their names are internal and not the in-world designations they will launch with. Researcher, a science-oriented model that carries internal signal dampeners and an advanced scanner suite for discovery missions. News van. Designed for deep space broadcasting, the News Van Reliant adds an image enhancement suite that helps capture every moment of life in the stars. Skirmisher. The frontier combat version of the Reliant trades cargo for a high-yield power plant, stronger shields, and additional weapon mounts. And we have one little last note here talking about the LTI on variants going on in the future because of the discussion that was going on about the Star Gemini sale, so let's go ahead and read it. We are announcing that these ships are in the works today because we know that many backers are concerned about having LTI on their ships. With feedback from the Starfarer Gemini sale, we're going to establish ongoing rules for variants in advance. Going forward, the policy is that if we announce variants in advance, which we will try to do when possible, they will not be made available with LTI on release, and instead, CCUs will be available. If an additional variant were added beyond those listed during the base concept sale, it would be considered for a possible LTI concept sale. Okay guys, on that last part, I may need a little help understanding. So does that shut down any hope of me getting a LTI retaliator? Because I'm a bit confused on that statement on that last note. But on to the Reliant. Now, the first thing, I hate the starter ships being called starter ships because I think they should be called like more of a entry level, because when you call it a starter ship, it kind of gets that rep of you know, like it's a beginner ship, a noob ship, which they're not, because I really like the Mustang Delta over my Avenger. I just love the way it flies. It's so much fun to play, and I don't know, it's just something about the Mustang Delta. I'm actually thinking about CCUing it for my Avenger. I'm really thinking about it. So that starter ship title that comes out, it really doesn't mean anything. If you like the ship, go ahead and get it. Second, so far, this is the cheapest ship that has LTI so far, besides the Kickstarter stuff that came out before this, but it does not come with a package. So if you guys think this comes with a package, it's not like the other starter ships. We have to wait later on in the future for it. And I am very interested in this tier 2 system that they got going on now. When I used to look at the different tiers, like the starter ships were tier 1, and then the Avengers and like the 300 series were like a tier 2 to me. But now they're breaking it down to a whole nother level. So I guess tier 1 is the Aurora and Delta. Now it's moving to tier 2, a little more expensive ship, because this is the most expensive starter ship. It's moving up to tier 2. And it does look like it has a little more advanced stuff going on with it than the Aurora and the Delta. So it's got a little more going on and a lot more variants coming out, which I'm also excited for, especially that broadcaster one. That one is, I definitely got to get that one, especially being a YouTuber and I plan on being a live streamer. I think I'm definitely going to get that variant, which also like they said with the new system that they're doing with the variants, if you're thinking about getting one of the variants, buy this one now, then CCU it later. You could cross chassis upgrade. That's what that means, if you guys didn't know, to get one of those variants if you guys want it. They said do it now or forever hold your peace, because that's how the new system, I guess that's how it is now, because they went through a fuss about the Starfarer Gemini. So that's how it's going now. Now, me personally, I love this ship. I was just talking about some buddies in my org, by the way, Praxis. It'll be in the link below if y'all want to join, 18 and older. But anyways, I digress. It is such a nice looking ship. It has a nice combination of alien tech and then the Misc combined, and I wish there was more of that. Like I said, I love my sleek and sexy ships like the Aegis type stuff, and then, you know, Misc usually has like a heavy duty industrial look to it. This is stepping out of bounds from that. It looks real nice and sleek and alien looking, so I really love that. And I love the way it transforms. Like, it looks like a B-wing when it sits up. I know a lot of people see that. It almost looks like a moth also, if you kind of look at it, if you want to think of bugs or animals or whatever. Then it also kind of looks like a V-wing. All my Rogue Squadron people, if y'all played Rogue Squadron, they had these V-wings, and it looks like that when it's going horizontal. So yes, I will be buying about probably 4 or 5 of these, and I will be giving some away on GEEKDOMO Starstream on the Starcast. I will be on July 3rd, and I think he starts, I want to say my time, 4 or 5 p.m. Central Time. So on July 3rd, mark y'all calendars. I will be giving some of these away and maybe some more ships. So stay open for that. I will have the link to his Twitch down below in the description, so make sure you guys check that out. But like I said, if you guys have an LTI ship, I would get this. It's a cheap gamble. You can CCU it probably for something later on. If you don't really like the look of the ship, like I said, just look at it like that. You can keep it for CCU purposes. But like I said, I'm getting a lot. But you guys have a blessed day. I have to give me some sleep for work. But one more thing. Star Citizen for life.